good seeing you all here. This is a special night. It's going to be of doing what I do. I've never had an opportunity like this. So this is very humbling, and I'm really excited to get this thing rocking and rolling. Now, for those of you who are in the process of going through the interview process to find out whether or not we would be willing to bring you onto the team, I want to congratulate you for making it this far. This is a big thing. I want you to understand that most people don't make it this far. So you have, and that means you've impressed somebody. And that's good. We look at character, we look at attitude, we look at coachability. And if somebody doesn't measure up to what our standards are, then we just don't continue on with that. But you're here. And so I'm really proud of you. I want to welcome you. Tonight, you probably don't really have a real understanding of how special this is. But when I was just starting out, I was attracted to a man that, in my opinion, was the best teacher that I could find. And it was amazing how much he did, and nothing ever changed on that. And I eventually found out, but wasn't a surprise that he was so good at that. A couple of years before, he had been elected as the teacher of the year in the public education system down in South Carolina. And so he really came equipped to do what he did. And he did that to excellence. He pursued that for the longest time. Eventually ended up, there's a lifestyle national magazine called Rob Report. He and his wife were featured on the cover of that because it was just an indication of the amount of success that they had teaching people the very things he's going to be talking about tonight. He's an expert on developing cash flows, and he's done that virtually all over the world. And so you and I have the privilege tonight to listen to him talk about what you are hoping to do in your future. So if you would just welcome up here and get me off of here so we can listen from South Carolina, Triple Diamond, Rick Setzer.
Jobs programs and, of course, funding mental health.
Mute them.
Is a hypocrite on this subject. I mean, he has voted against.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right. How many of you are old enough to know what that symbol is? I mean, if you do, that means you've been around a while. But anyway, listen, it is so great to be here, and it's not snowing. I've made several trips to Minnesota before, and quite a few of them were in the snow. And then I said, God, if you get me through this, only time I'm going to come is when it's sunshiny and when there's no snow. And so we scheduled a trip in June one year to come up. So I came up and I told Bob about this a while ago. So we're going to go fishing the next day. So we get here and beautiful, sunshiny, 75 degrees, wonderful weather, middle of June. And so the next day we're getting ready to go fishing, and we get up and it's 32 degrees and snowing. And the wind was probably 40 miles an hour when they launched the boat. And so anyway, I won't tell you the rest of the story, but at that point I decided, and I told everybody, move south. So, you know, anyway, all right. So, all right. I've already had a great day being here. Dan and Betsy and I had lunch together today, and then so I asked Dan, and when I come into a different group of people, I always like to know what can I say, what should I not say, and you know, things to avoid, not to offend anybody. And so after he went through the list, he said, don't do anything political, nothing spiritual, and nothing ethnic. No, you can't tell any ethnic jokes. And I said, I'm done. I mean, where do you go from there? So I decided I would do ethnic, okay, to start with, rather than to get into the other stuff, the political and the spiritual stuff. Okay, now, and I know some of y'all listen to a guy named Joel Osteen occasionally. He does some of the best clean jokes of anybody in the country. And so anyway, so there's two guys, white guy, black guy. That's Caucasian and black, in case you're wondering. Okay, and they're good friends, live next door to each other, but they're continually arguing about stuff. And so, guy's named Joe, other guy's named Bill. And so, the white guy, Joe, and Bill, it doesn't make any difference whether it's a ball game or whatever, they take opposite sides and they argue. And so, so they said, okay, is God white or is he black? And so Joe said, well, he's white. And of course, Bill said he's black. And so anyway, they said, okay, when we get to heaven, we're going to find out. So they're arguing, going to a ball game one day and not paying attention, driving, and bang, truck runs into them, kills both of them exactly the same time. So they're both in heaven now, and they're walking down to the pearly gates, and they're looking at each other and say, okay, we're going to find out. St. Peter's going to tell us whether God's white or black. So they get to the gate, and St. Peter's welcome. He said, wait, before we go in, Joe said, we want to know, is God white or black? And so St. Peter says, well, I'll tell you what, he's coming around the corner right now. He can tell you. So he walks around the corner and says, Buenos dias, amigos. See, y'all thought it was going to go downhill from there, but anyway. All right. Tonight is in our business process. You guys have been through, almost everybody here has been through a first meeting of explaining the basic numbers and details in the presentation in the plan. Okay, but the other thing is that, and I'll preface everything I'm going to say tonight is this: none of what I'm telling you is a promise or guarantee that you can do it. Okay, but it is a promise and guarantee that when you do it, the money will be there. So let's get no guarantee that you can, but when you do it, the money is there. All right, I am on year 52 of being in the Amway business. For most people, they don't work at companies that have been around 52 years. I want everybody, the points that, to me, that are really critical for everybody to understand is that the longevity and security of the company is absolutely one of the most secure companies there is in the world, not just in the U.S., and it's not the biggest volume-wise company in the world. There's other companies larger than this, but the stability of what we do is more stable than any income that you can associate and build and develop. Because, and I'll say this now, I'll say it again, nobody works at anything that you can make as much money as you can in the Amway business of building a successful, and I'll tell you this right now, I'm not talking about a platinum business, not talking about an emerald business, but I'm talking about businesses that move on to diamond, to double diamond, triple diamond, and a crown ambassador. Those businesses generate millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. Not one-shot deal, but some of the bonuses are you qualify for a couple of years, and those are you'll see the words, and it's not temporary, but it's first time that you get there. And I'll say that tonight. First time you get there, this is what you get. Then but almost everything I'm going to talk about tonight is permanent in the plan money. In other words, it's there. Whenever you get to that level in the business, that is what you're going to be paid. And most of the time, so when we do a first-time presentation, we legally cannot do a presentation, and the company monitors our present. I won't say they monitor, but they help Internet and Jaeger's develop a presentation that doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. All right, and so we always got to be aware of that. So when we do a main presentation, we talk about a person building to 7,500 points or building to a platinum business. We talk basically about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. That's what the attorneys at Amway are confident that they can defend, because would y'all believe that there are people in different places around in our country that really don't like to see independent business owners?
Yes, exactly.
You understand that? Anyway, okay, that's all my politics. I'm done. Well, anyway, so you know that's tough to stop there. Sam, is that right? Tough to stop there. Okay, but anyway, not everybody is excited about independent business owners, and that's why it's kind of like, in case y'all haven't figured it out yet, do you know why they're hiring 78,000 new IRS agents? It's not for me, because we have a big business, different income structure. And my accountant, I talked to him last week, he said, Rick, he said, they're not coming after you. He said, they're already after you. You know, you did that whenever you get into the price range and income range we are, then they already have those people hired. So just let you know. So anyway, so when we talk about the other incomes of the business, so a first presentation does not show you all and completely the ways that we have to develop an income. So tonight's meeting we call the rest of the story. All right, and I know we've got quite a few people on the webcast tonight, and again I'm going to try to hold this time-wise. We're going to do the main meeting after the meeting is over. We're going to do maybe a 30-minute. For people that want to stay, we'll probably not broadcast that, and then I'm going to meet with some of our team after that. So anyway, so to start with, okay, let's go back to what I call some of the basics of the business. Okay, now the way the company is set up and was set up originally to me is critical and important. All right, when the company started. The company that started was called the Amway Distributors Association, okay? That business and corporation was started in 1959. Now, some of you say, well, wait a minute, that's when Amway started. No, it wasn't. The Amway Distributors Association started in 1959. And the Amway Distributors Association today is called the Independent Business Owner Association International. So when you hear the word IBOAI, and you hear the board, it's directly related to this. Anytime someone comes in and registers and becomes a business owner, you become a member of the International Business Owners Association. You don't become an employee or the associate of Amway Corporation. Your association is through the business owner. Wait a minute. Let's get unconfused here. Okay, so here's what happens. There was another company called Amway. It was called the American Way to start with, called Amway in 1963. So Amway Corporation was started in 1963. So that's the company that makes products and stuff. You say, well, why is that important? The importance is this. There is a contract. Now, and now listen, what I'm telling you tonight, most people at Amway don't know this. All right, I'm serious. Most of the people work at Amway don't know this. So if you try to teach them this, don't try to teach them this, because they don't totally understand, and they don't need to. Other than this, is that we don't work for Amway. Our association and membership is right here. This is where we belong. It's with the Amway Distributors Association. So when the relationship was set up between Amway Corporation and the Amway Distributors Association, the IBOAI, it was set up in a way that's very, very unique. The Distributor Association owns the marketing plan, not Amway Corporation. Now, why is that important? if any of you either have been or know people that work for a company and you're in the sales department of the company, you will find that people at a corporation will continually make changes in your pay scale and in the way that you make money, but those people have never sold a thing. All right. And in business, nobody makes any money until somebody sells something. Period. I don't care what it is, whether you're selling. There's only two ways you make money in the world. And one is you provide product or you provide services, and you get paid for one of those two things. Every one of you, in whatever you're doing right now in your work, you're either providing a service or you're selling a product. And that's the way you make money, period. And so, here's the problem that happens. People that have never sold anything, controlling people that are selling, don't think the same. You okay? Now, and that's not a major problem, except having the control of the pay scale is very important, because whenever somebody else is controlling your income and pay scale and they can change it, then over the period of time, you will have no confidence in that company. And you talk to anybody that's been in sales. I live in Greenville, South Carolina. One of the biggest marketing or biggest companies in that area are people in the textile industry and making carpet. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bigelow Carpet, but it's one of the popular carpets made or whatever. And some friends of ours had a sales guy there that he was the top guy with the company and making several $100,000 a year. And so what happened is one year they came back and they took his territory that he had and developed, and they broke it up into 4 different sections, and they gave him a fourth of it. And then 3 other guys got the rest of it that he had developed. Well, he quit and he went over to another company. The problem is that you can't run your life and go 10 or 15, 20 years somewhere and get that shaft and then turn around and start over again. At some point you run out of starting over times. And so when we started the business, the things, and Dexter taught us this from day one in the business, is the stability of our business is the fact that the company can't make changes in the pay plan. All right, now, I'll prove my point. How many of you have heard about the Bronze program that's started out this year? Everybody heard about that? All right, that's a new pay plan. How many of you got an email from the company that asked you your opinion or asked you, did you, I don't say approve, but you know about it or say it's okay? Did any of you here get a message like that? Okay, well, I got it, and all the founders platinums in the business got it. And so they got the message, and you and Betsy got it of, what are your thoughts on it or what? I can't remember exactly how it was worded. However, so that was sent out to all the distributor association, all the IBOs. And so we had input that we could input. Now watch this. The company can't even add money unless we approve it. Not only can they not take away, but they can't even add money or change the marketing plan unless it is cleared. And let me tell you what, the relationship between the company and the distributor association is the best today that I've ever seen it since I've been in business. There is the guys there is a incredible working relationship between the company, and they basically they won't move on anything unless there is agreement on both sides that this is a good thing. And do you know it took them 2 years to come up with a formula for the Bronze program to figure out what works, what doesn't work? And so there is a tremendous amount of thought and process that goes in there. But the good thing about it was that that this relationship here is contractual. It is, and the company can't do, listen, the company can't do anything to an IBO. Do you know the company can't terminate you unless you're doing something stupid, crooked, or, and you say, well, they can terminate you for that. No, they can't even do that. They have to take any complaint they have against a distributor to the board. You know how I know that? I was sitting in the federal courtroom one day and I heard the judge say it. Now, all right, some of you say, golly, this is really tough stuff. Some of you online say, I don't know if I want you people here. If you're in business, put your big boy pants on, your big girl panties on, and suck it up, okay? If you're in a business that you can make $1 million a year out of, do you think it's going to be easy? Do you think you're not going to have some problems that you run into that you got to solve? Thank God that in the business that we have got you talk about people that are on target with the way the business works. I don't know if there's anybody any smarter than Jerry Meadows. Jerry Meadows is he's brilliant when it comes, whenever I want to know numbers and how it works and how it's going to affect the business, I call Jerry. And I look at it because it's like, why spend time doing it? Jerry's already figured it out. And that's who Jeff Doyle and Steve call, because so he is one of the smartest guys you'll ever run across in business. Burt Gulick was absolutely incredible. Same kind of thought pattern, same guy. Jeff Doyle and Steve are literally, none of us have any idea of how not just dedicated they are, but let me tell you what, if you ever got into a fight, you want them on your side, all right? And some people say, if you ever get in a foxhole, you'll never get in a foxhole. They carry guns. So anyway, did anybody ever see the movie Indiana Jones, where he goes in and it's a romancing the stone? And so he had this guy that was going to fight him. And so Indiana Jones pulls out this Bowie knife, and this other guy pulls out a sword. And he says, oh, crap. And so Indiana Jones pulls out a gun and shoots the guy. And so anyway, so you want him on your side. That's all I'm saying. And so anyway, so now the reason I normally don't spend as much time on this as what I'm spending here tonight, but by the same token, knowing this and understanding it to me is it's secure, because now we have a business that we can pass on to our kids if they decide to work and build a business. they can develop more on what we've already done, and then the grandkids can do the same thing. So when you talk about a generational business, we're not talking about a just generational inherited business. We're talking about a generational income, and they can develop more onto what you've already built. How would you like to be in a position that the generational business that was passed on to you was a qualified founder's diamond business every year, and you got to build off of that? Wouldn't that be just absolutely a cool thing to do? All right. So anyways, so that's a little bit of what I call just in the establishing. Now, in going back, and y'all seen this, you see this in the presentation, but you know what? I'm going to put this down here. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing. In doing a presentation, there is a uniqueness to the bonus scale that we miss and don't, even though we see it. Today, technology has advanced the business tremendously. From the time that we used to write bonus checks, we had to calculate and write the bonus checks, and we knew if somebody was at 6%, what their bonus check would be, et cetera. And so, and I don't know about you, I like change. I like change when somebody else has to do it. I'm not a fan of change when you have to make me change, okay? I want to keep doing it the way I've been doing it, you know, and so somebody will say, well, the way the business operates, if you don't change, then the business is going to change. And so you need to stay current with stuff. So let's go back to in the way, when we're developing a business, we talk about a person in starting out. I'm not going to talk about the immediate profit or just the things on the bonus scale, but the bonus scale, do you know of all the years that there have been network marketing companies, there's never been one company that ever copied Amway's bonus scale. And I spent 2 hours on the phone one day with a guy from the next biggest major network marketing company trying to convince me to join his company about 2 years ago. And I'm talking to him. And so I explained to him the bonus scale and the stuff in the business. We got finished. He said, Rick, he said, I think I need to join Amway. Now, if he's the president of that company and he doesn't know, how can they teach it? If they've never figured it out, how can they teach it? And they can't. All right, so I'm going to show you some stuff that you know, but maybe not aware of. When we talk about building, when you have a group with about 12 to 15 people doing a volume of around 2,000 PV. Okay, on the bonus scale, your bonus bracket here, you're in the 15% bonus bracket, and your income, and here's what I want you to watch. So the income is about $400 per month. All right, so we show that in a presentation. We build the presentation basically on threes from the standpoint, if you look at the bronze program, and this has been Yeager's principles for years, is to develop, because Dexter always talked about an emerald business. If you want to secure income, build an emerald business. That is one of the most secure, stable businesses you can ever have. So, but anyway, to start with, when you start out on the philosophy of building in threes, 12 to 15 will produce about $400 a month. All right, now, when you double that and you add 3 more teams on that do the same thing, and now you've got about 30 to 40 businesses, your income at that point with 30 to 40 will wind up being $1,600 per month. So now watch this. You doubled your business, and your income went up 400%. Because at this point now, you're on the bonus scale at 21%. Okay? You take it another step further to having 9 people sponsored. Okay, with 9 people sponsored, you've got somewhere around 70 businesses. Your income then goes to about 4,800. So you added 1/3 onto your business, and your income goes up 4 times. Now that's the uniqueness of the bonus scale. When you, as you develop and build the numbers here and develop a group, your income, when you double the group, the income will go up 3 to 4 times, typically. And the only reason it doesn't is if your structure isn't correct. And what you're seeing right here, and I'm not drawing out all the numbers and details here, but the way you make money in the business is structure. Stability in the business comes from structure. You can't have one group with all this volume in one group. That is not the correct structure to make money. So there has to be a balance between structure and how much depth you have in the business. So having structure is important. Now the bronze program, all right, just stop here for a second on this one. The bronze program starts kicking in down here really to the point that when a person starts the business, they're automatically going to get paid a 10% bonus. Whether you get 3%, the company bumps it up to 10. If you're at 7% or 6%, they bump it up to 10. So that's in effect right now for people who were not platinums in the past. or Dan, what was it? In the past year, if in 22 you were at what level? If you're at 12%, it's not effective if you were at 12%. The bronze program is for new people. So here's what happens here. Now, doing this as a new IBO that you haven't been at 12%, there's an additional program in the bronze builder program that adds 30% to this bonus. So in addition to the typical regular bonus that you get off the bonus scale, new people and in the business will pick up an additional $120. So this amount now goes to $520. Well, that's not a tremendous amount, but if you look at the size of your business back here, you could take your whole group and put them in a van and go somewhere. It's not a big business, and it's $6,000 a year income. That's not bad. Okay, when you go down now and get to the 6 groups, you now move into the second part of the bronze program, and there is a 70%. There's an additional 40% added to your bonus. So instead of $1,600, you would wind up with a bonus of $2,700. So that's almost $3,000 a month in income. Now that's a pretty major step. And now you're looking at over $30,000 a year, and you're at 4,000 PV. Would you say that's good? That's excellent. And then when you move down here to the next level, at 4,800, you add 70% to that, and that number comes up to be $8,160 per month. Is that good? Yeah, I know the answer to these questions. I'm just asking you to. I'm just see. I tried to make sure you're still awake. Now, and Dan Betsy, though, when I looked at this, now we don't qualify for this. You hear that? We don't qualify for this, but I will tell you one thing: we're just about as excited as anybody that gets there will be excited when they get there. We're excited for them to get there, because we know one thing for a fact: when you're making so much money out of the business, you have an ability to handle negative from your relatives and from your people in the family more than and I don't promote this, but you may get this license plate, customized plate. Y'all can get customized plates up here, can't you? Okay. Somebody's gonna get this one called "Told You." Now, and you're not supposed to build out of revenge, but sometimes that's one of the better factors to motivate you. I spend a lot of nights with Dexter Yeager riding around Charlotte, and most of the nights were after I'd done a meeting somewhere and I'd driven to Charlotte, and so from 12 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock the next morning, we would ride and we'd talk. And Dexter always took me dreaming. He always went to look at cars. Went to look at houses in the middle of the night. If you did that today, we would have been arrested. I don't know how many times. You can't do that today. It's what we did at that time. And I remember one night pulling into the Mercedes dealership, and at that time they didn't have the locks and the gates and stuff like that. You could just pull in. So we pull in there, and I'm thinking, and so we get out and we're looking at cars. And all of a sudden, there are blue lights everywhere coming in. I said, "Oh my God, Dexter, we're going to jail." And so anyway, so the police cars pull up. There was 3 of them. They start getting out of the car, and Dex said, "Hey, Bill, how you doing?" And they said, "Dex, it's you out here. You know what's going on tonight?" Dexter knew all the policemen. because they had already been there, and so. But the thing is, he didn't just know them. I just stood there and listened. Well, Bill, how's your son? Is he doing better in school now and everything? Well, how's your? And then the next person, well, how's your wife doing? You know, she was sick back. He knew them, but he knew about them. It wasn't just the fact that he knew their name; he knew about them. And in developing relationships of any kind, you can know somebody's name, but not know about them. And what's going to happen is you're not going to develop a good relationship with them. The qualifying process is about learning about each other to see if you trust them. And y'all know that, because if you don't trust people, you will not listen to them. And so Dexter had influence now, and to my knowledge, he never sponsored a one of them. He never tried to get them to a meeting. He never tried to do anything, but they knew that he was a successful business person. And even if we drove up in his pickup truck or what, it didn't make a difference what we drove up in, they knew Dexter Yeager. Now, all right, so you got that? I wanted to let this sink in for a little bit before I move on to the next thing. Now, the only other part of this that is on here is the at 10,000 volume, there is the bonus is 27%. At 12.5, it's 29%, and at 15,000, it's 31%. So if you just look at this, when anybody does 15,000, they get an extra 6% bonus on their entire volume. In other words, you don't just get 6% on the volume above 7,500. You get 6% extra on your entire volume. We just had a couple, and Bruce and Becky may be on the webcast here tonight, but last month, in the month of September, Bruce does a lot of agriculture sales. And so last month, his volume, and so he was giving me some numbers and stuff on it, but his bonus check for last month is going to be over $8,000. And then his immediate profit last month is going to be over $12,000. So last month they made about $22,000 in September. Well, isn't that good? Wouldn't you like to have somebody in your group that did? Now, here's the crazy thing about it. That didn't include, they didn't qualify for any of this other money here because they were already platinums. So they didn't qualify for it. They made it strictly off of this part, the numbers over here. Now, so you can make a lot of money in the business. We get excited when our group makes a lot of money. All right, now, okay. I made notes. I'm doing pretty good here. I only got about an hour and a half more of notes. And now Dan gets worried. No, okay. All right, so got that. All right, now. So that covers some basics in the business, but now let's do the next thing. All right, the next thing is in building an emerald business, we still hadn't got, when you look at the webcast and you see Reed and Cindy DeReeves on there, and Reed did the meeting for Yeager's Monday night. He does a great presentation. I love listening to him. And then you see Diamonds, Reed and Cindy at $150,000 a year, and then Diamonds at $300,000 or $400,000 a year. And then you see Tim Foley, Crown Ambassador, and they show not the highest money they've made, but they show the lowest average, and he's only at $750 a year. Okay, I can testify he makes more than that. Okay, just to let you know. Well, where does the extra money come from? Well, some of it you see here, but when you hit the emerald level in the business, emerald is having 3 groups at 7,500 points. And there's a pool of money, and it's called the Emerald Pot Bonus, and the numbers on it. And you know what? Don't worry about writing this stuff down. The company's got all of this stuff. Your concern should be how to get there, not all the details. Okay, don't worry about writing it down, because the company has it in their computers to figure this out. You do not have to calculate any of it. Okay, all right. So, but here's the way it's figured. So you want to know? It's 0.25% of the national sales volume goes into this pot here. And then, so how do you get money out of it? They take your volume and you get points for it. The next person down, you get points for that. The next person down, you get points for that. 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 Next person, you get points for that. Next person, you get points for that. Next person, you get points for that. If this goes to China, you get points for every bit of volume you create in the world. There is no such thing as 7 deep, 10 deep, anywhere in the world. You get points and credit for that, and it comes back in and calculated in the Emerald Bonus Pot. When you just start into the Emerald Bonus Pot, you're looking at probably $7,000 to $10,000 a year. And it's just my estimate. It's not company figures, but I'm not even sure you see that on any of the bonus scale at all. They're talking about that. But here was the point that to me was most important. It doesn't make any difference how deep your groups are, how deep the leg is, how many people there are in. There can be 1,000 people in the leg, no matter where it is in the world, and you get credit for it. And there's no business, and this was one of the things that the guy I was talking to in the other multi-level deal was talking to, and I explained that to him. And he had no idea. Okay, so that was one pot. Well, here's another one. There's another pot that is exactly the same amount of money as in the Emerald Pot, but it's the Diamond Pot. Now, in the Diamond Pot, and the percentages and numbers are pretty simple. Is it logical there are going to be fewer diamonds than there are emeralds? Is that logical? Do you have to be a genius to figure that out? All right, and there is. Well, there's about 1/4 as many diamonds as there are emeralds. So this pot, if you produce the same volume, would be 4 times as much. Now, I can tell you that the Emerald Pot, and Dan and Betsy know for a fact, the bigger your business is, the more money comes out of that. The Emerald, when you build a big business, the first of everything I've shown you up here is going to be less than your Emerald Pot. Okay, so you're talking some major dollars. Your mind can go wherever you want to. Somewhere maybe there's some details and stuff about that, but I'm not sure that you're going to be able to find it. Next page. All right, you ready? The rest of the story. Okay. Let's go back here now and talk about something else that we normally mention in the presentation. Whenever you have a person that does 7,500, and we talk about being a platinum in the business. In other words, when you have somebody that goes to the top of the bonus scale, do you realize there's no differential anymore for you? In other words, if you're at 25% and they're at 25%, the differential's gone. All right. So when we started the business, this number was 3%. All right. Dexter was the instigator. He said, when you're building a group and a team, what happened in Amway business before, and as he was getting started, there was money paid for building width, but there was not any money really in the business for building depth. Dexter was after security. and I told Gary, that's coming over here, Gary and Kathy, about Dexter. Every night, every time I spent time with him, he had a motivation that was beyond. There's a difference between having a goal and having a purpose. Now, when you start the business, we want you to have goals. When you ever move to a point that you have a purpose, you will have a definite mind of purpose that people will be drawn to you. Goals don't draw people to you, but when you have people that have purpose, now, purpose can be bad and still draws people to it. You know that? So people are looking for someone to mentor them and to give them advice about the rest of their life. Listen, the stuff in the Amway business and that happens in the Amway business is not going to make or break you. What happens to you in life will make the huge difference in what happens to your Amway business. If you've got a screwed up personal life, you're going to have a difficult time building an Amway business. I'm sorry, that's it. And that's not funny. I'm just telling you, after 51 years of being in the business, that's the experience that we've seen. So when we work with somebody, we're not just working with you to teach you how to talk to somebody or contact somebody or how to do a presentation or how to do a follow-up. In that process, you will probably ask some questions about some personal things. One of the things that we get asked questions a lot about are finances and what to do financially. And what about this? What about that? We are not, and your upline, unless they are a certified financial planner, counselor, is not going to take the responsibility of giving you advice about your finances. But I'll tell you what, we know some general things that will help you. One thing is, and a couple sent me a message back, it was probably a year ago, and they said, you know, we need some help on our stuff. We want to build a business, tell us what to do. And I said, just for curiosity, send me a list of your finances, what you owe, banks, credit card, or whatever. So I got the list, and I almost threw up. And it's people I've known for over 25 years, great people, but never were able to develop a very big business. As I counted through the credit cards, there were over 25 credit cards with balances on it that ranged anywhere from 24 to 30% they were paying on their credit card debt, or had that every month. All right, I don't even have to be a financial counselor to tell you, you're not going to make enough money to overcome that. And so the first thing we started doing with them, that's what they did, and they had cash over here that they could pay off about 6 or 7 of them, and they were had cash in the bank that they were only getting a 0.1% interest. All right, and so we started. Okay, I won't tell you what they did, but I'm just telling you that having somebody that's been through and understands some of that stuff is critical. And having somebody that you trust, and they trust me, and I trust them, and they have moved drastically from where they were because they're not paying 30% interest anymore. Well, in the business, when we talk about building a cash flow asset, building an asset, it means that it's something that produces money after you've done the work, or that you didn't have to do that amount of work this month to make that amount of money. That's what a cash flow asset is. Now, in our business, it's different than owning real estate because you don't have to handle plumbing problems or maintenance or the roof blowing off in a storm or the pipes freezing. All this, I've already done all that. And my conclusion was the least amount of time I could spend doing stuff like that And the more amount of time I can spend in the Amway business, the better I am. You don't own a bank? We owned a bank. You don't own a hotel? We owned a hotel. You don't own property? We owned. And when I say we, Dexter, Tom Payne, Bill Britt, myself, Jerry Meadows was in on some of this stuff. Can I tell you how much money we lost in all of that stuff? So the things that I was in by myself, I made money on. The things that I did as a group, I lost money. And you know why? Ever heard the statement, everybody's business is nobody's business? And that's exactly what happened. It didn't affect me as much if I lost $250,000 in the hotel deal because everybody else lost $250. Even though the loss was $5 million, it still wasn't as bad on me. But you know what? You can't lose 250 grand or 300 grand in a lot of deals and come out smelling like a rose. And so, anyway, so now I'm telling y'all this, other than some of you think you're smart and you're not. And maybe it's nobody in this room. It's maybe somebody that's on the Zoom call tonight. I know that there are smart people out there, but when it gets down to money, there's nobody I've ever met in my life smarter than Dexter Yeager. And the next guy that's most smart is Jeff Yeager. Jeff is absolutely brilliant. Okay, now, Jerry Meadows falls in that category too. I'll tell you, I don't fall in that category. Because if you look at my track record, like say of money, I don't fall in the category of being brilliant when it comes down to investing with other people. The only thing investing with other people that's made money for me is this sucker right here. Okay, now let's go down. So this was changed. Okay, this was changed by agreement with the board. Instead of 3%, today it's 6%. All right. And so then every time that you have a group that's at 7,500, you get a 6% bonus. That number is about $1,500, per month per platinum. So when you have 3, that's $4,500 a month. All right. And so that's not bad. You know, you're looking at over $50,000 a year for having 3 groups that are making about $70,000 or $80,000 a year. That's not bad, is it? Listen, the people that do the work always make the most money. At no point in the structure does the leadership make more money on the business than the people doing the work. And the other thing is, there's nobody that makes any money until something is sold. Volume has got to move. No PV, no profit, no money. So when we talk about volume and verified customer sales, it has been from day one in this business, we have always talked about product and merchandise. And Betsy is one of the best teachers that I've ever seen doing on products and understanding and how to get the information over to you on product. It just does an excellent job. Okay, now, so when you have 3 here, that's 4,500. Okay, plus remember the pot bonus? So you get into the pot bonus, okay? And then when you have, oh, you know, I forgot something. I have to go back and show you this. Y'all know this, but let's see if I wrote this down. I may not have written all this down. Oh, here it is. Okay. When you qualify here for 12 months of the year, you know, I got you up to about 60 or 70,000. The bonus there is an additional 18,000 a year. It's called growth incentive. All right. Still with me? That's 3 for 6. When you qualify 12 months, 3 for 12, that in addition to this one, not in substitute of it, but in addition, you make 75,000 a year. that's in addition, not in substitution for it. This bonus here goes up, and I didn't copy all the details a while ago, but this goes up to where that when you have 12 platinum legs for 12 months, that's 144 months, this bonus by itself is $250,000. And you didn't have to give up any of the other money that I've shown you. This is in addition to. All right, and you don't have to say it. I don't like preachers when they say, "Well, say this," and I say, "No, I'm not going to do it." But anyway, told you. All right, okay. No, I'm going to get off track if I do that. All right, we got that one. Okay, now let's work. You got this now? All right, now let's work a little depth. Well, Dexter also see now, like a double diamond. Just figure a double diamond for a minute. That's 250 plus the other bonuses and stuff we've talked about here. You got to be close to $1 million at this point in income when you total everything up, because you've got 12 6% bonuses times 15, so that's 180 grand a year. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Now, I just want you to just absorb this. All right. Then here comes another one. Dexter said that building depth is the security in the business. Structure is profitability. Depth is security. So build security. Would it make sense that if you had a platinum that you've got personally sponsored, and they had a platinum, 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 would that leg be more secure to do 7,500 points each month? Well, sure it will. Well, Dex said that and he worked on this a long time. There's got to be money paid. Okay, now. Okay, so get this. If you're sitting here with 3 groups, so you're an emerald, the possibilities of this platinum, developing a platinum business, is dependent on you. You helping the person become a platinum. You're not going to get somewhere in this business without somebody that's already been there teaching you how to do it. You talk about a crapshoot. It is absolute. It's almost impossible. Okay, so here's what happens. So the person that actually helped you go platinum is probably your sponsor. Well, then how can you teach somebody how to be a platinum if you didn't know how to do it yourself? So what happens is, Dex said, this person up here is the one that taught you how to be a platinum. And then probably this person is the one that taught this person how to be a platinum. And then after you get in group about 5 levels deep, then probably this person that you've sponsored can now teach somebody how to be a platinum. Therefore, there's the theory and a formula called teachers teaching teachers to teach teachers to teach. Whenever you have this completed, you will have some security in the leg. However, the company came back and said, okay, what we're going to do, and when I say the company, I'm talking about the Distributor Association, not Amway Corporation. All right, the Distributor Association with the company, they came up with a formula that works out really well. And that's this. You get paid 2% on every platinum that you have in depth, down to the next person in the group that has at least, well, even if you've got, and I'll draw the numbers out here in a second, down to the next person that has 3 platinums or more. So let's draw a double diamond out down here. Okay. So you get 2% on every platinum in depth down to this person who's a double diamond that's got 12, and you get 2% on their volume. And then you get 2% on all of their front line. All right, how many of y'all did not know that? How many of y'all like that? See, listen, when you start, now just stop for a minute. I know we're running overtime, but just stop for a minute. Whenever you have 3 platinums in depth, that's equivalent to having another personal platinum. So there's an incentive for you to build depth in the business. It's like when we say we want you to be platinum and you're 5 levels deep in the group, we want you to be platinum. The reason I want it is you're going to be making a lot of money, but I get a little bit of it. I get paid 2%. And so I want you not just to be platinum, I want you to have platinums. Now, so this number, okay, how can I'll say this tactfully. Our bonuses here are more than our 6% bonuses. But that's one of your goals. Your goal is to get more 2% bonuses that make more money than your 6% bonuses that appear personal. So building structure is profitability. Also building depth now becomes more profitable. All right, now I'm going to write one leg, and I'm going to shut up and we're going to stop. We sponsor a couple in the business, Hal and Susan Gooch. They are double diamonds. They sponsor a person that's EDC, who sponsors another person that's EDC, who sponsors another person that's a double diamond, who sponsors another person that's a diamond, who sponsors another EDC, who sponsors Tim Foley. And then Tim Foley is a Crown Ambassador. And then he has, Noel Yeager called me back about 2 years ago, and he said, Rick, do you know so-and-so in Spain? He said, I'm in Spain working with a group over here. I said, thank you. He said, do you know so-and-so? And I said, yeah. I said, I met them at Diamond Club. He said, they just qualified Crown Ambassador in Tim Foley's group. And he said, do you know so-and-so? And I said, no, I don't know them. He said, they're in this Crown Ambassadors group, and they just qualified Crown Ambassador. So I said, yes, yes. Now, what caused that to happen is not Rick Setzer. If you think I'm stupid enough to tell you that I did that, it absolutely is not true. The system did that. So when we tell you that reading books and listening to audios, getting counsel and learning and staying in plugged in and in tune with your upline, your counselor is important, that's the system. And whenever people get away from that, and occasionally we run into some people that think they're smarter than we are. And I can tell you for a fact, there are many people that have more degrees. I only have a degree in engineering, a degree in education, and a master's in adult education. And so there are many that are PhD, got bigger degrees, but a degree that is no indication of how smart they are. It's how they did on the test. Now, and that's not a put down. I've got them, and so I understand. The degree from life and in the business is different than that. Our degree, the pedigree is more important here, and it's the Yeager business and the Yeager system. And being involved and being in that system is the most important system that anybody can ever be involved in. Now, why do we keep talking about the Jaeger business and the Jaeger system? The Jaeger business is larger than any other network marketing company in the world. There's no network marketing company in the world that is as big as the Jaeger business. There is no other company in the world that is as big as Amway. There's no other company in the world that the influence of how they operate and work is like the Amway Distributors Association, IBOAI, with the company. The relationship there is, like I said earlier, it's the best I've ever seen it in 51 years. There is no company and no distributor group, there's no sales group and no company that's going to agree on everything. And thank God we have in our business the contract legal that makes us work together. It's kind of like you can be brothers and sisters and fight over stuff. But the bottom line is when going gets tough, you fight together. Okay? And one of the things that's going on right now in the business that you people talk about verified customer sales, the reason the reporting of that is critical is that the Federal Trade Commission, listen, just so you'll know, and if this bothers you, okay, then you're going to have to decide whether you're going to work it or whether you're going to go do what. I'll guarantee you, whatever you're doing, doesn't have the opportunity this task. But the Federal Trade Commission came to the Direct Selling Association 3-4 years ago and told the Direct Selling Association, they spoke at the meeting. Steve Jaeger recorded it and sent me the recording. And they said, our goal is to put y'all out of business. Oh, wow. Now that's the Federal Trade Commission attorneys coming in to the Direct Selling Association. Now, why did they say that? The reason say, well, I could give you a lot of reasons, but here's the point. When you have a government agency that says that, now, put your big boy pants on, suck it up, Buttercup, and are you willing to fight? And honestly, I'm gonna tell you what, I would rather know who's not willing to fight now rather than give them a gun and we go to battle and they run the other way. And so let me tell you, Dan and Betsy Smith. Dan Smith is absolutely a fighter. Sam Kemp, I've known Sam Kemp for over 30 years. Sam Kemp is a fighter, I can tell you that. Jerry Meadows is a fighter. Bert Gooley, a fighter. Some of y'all have different uplines and lines of sponsorship. I will guarantee in every line of sponsorship that's represented here, you've got an upline just like we are and were from the standpoint they are fighters. And because we believe in what we believe in and the principles and the right principles to live your life with. We believe that we teach the right principles. Gary and Kathy and I were talking coming over here. Do you know that there's no business group in the world? Do you know every other business group and every other company in the world has to mandate ethnicity and how much we've got of each one? The Amway business, not so. You know what? It doesn't make a difference where you come from, what your ethnicity is, doesn't matter at all. You determine what percentage of business you want and what percentage of business you get. And it's not up to somebody else mandating it to you, it's you mandating it for yourself. And there's a guy that came in to speak at Free Enterprise back about probably 10 years ago. And Jerry Meadows and I were assigned to host him. He was a national speaker on TV a lot at that time. I won't tell you his name, but he was, so Jerry and I go to the airport, we pick him up, come back, we're talking to him, we'll get him to the Coliseum in Charlotte. This was a platinum meeting, and at that time, everybody was doing their platinum meeting together. And so there were probably 1,000 platinums there. And so anyway, so he walked in, so we gave him some background. He knew a little bit about the Amway business, gave him some background. So he came into the meeting and he walked around and he looked, and he was like a grasshopper. He moved from here to there. We could, and so Jerry and I couldn't keep up with him. And so Jerry would go one direction, I'd go the other direction and see if we could find him. And so finally it got down to 30 seconds that he's going to be on stage. Jerry and I meet behind stage, and Jerry says, "Where is he?" I said, "I have no idea." And he's got to be on stage. And Jerry said, "We're toast. Dexter is going to kill us if we don't have." And so anyway, he didn't really say that. He said some other things, but anyway, but I'll keep it clean for the meeting. But anyway, so anyway, about 10 seconds before this guy goes on stage, he shows up. He goes on stage, and what he did was he goes out and he said, "You know what? I've never seen anything like this before in my life." He said, "This is like the United Nations on steroids." He said, "I've never seen a business group that with this much diversity of ethnicity in the world, and no government agency mandated it." Now, do you know how powerful that is? And so then that afternoon, he went through the audience and interviewed people in the audience, and they told their story. All right. Don't ever give me any crap that we are prejudiced about any group. Let me tell you what I'm prejudiced about. People that goof off and don't do anything when they have the ability that they could. Because here's the thing, guys. It's not just you developing a business. You can't develop a good income in this business until you help other people. Your success is always the side benefit and the collateral benefit of helping other people. If you don't have a heart to help other people, you probably won't do well. To build a big business, you will develop that heart. It'll get bigger and better. And our prayer is that you develop a big business. Do you realize that this is a big state? Do you realize this is a big country we live in? And you can put people into business anywhere in the country. So anyway, Dan, I'm finished. Thank you for the time tonight, and hopefully